pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up we have meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions, concerns? Nothing? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Next up, consent agenda. Kristen, you went through this one? Everything looked good?
Yes, I went through it. Everything was straightforward, pretty simple. No compensatory trees required. Fencing in place. It's pretty simple, so.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Perfect. New grading permits. First up is 789 Darby Paoli Road. Is anybody here for that? Negative. All righty. We will move on to 516 King of Prussia Road. Anybody? Hi, if you could come up to the podium, introduce yourself and tell us about your description of the project, please.
Hi, I'm Peg Prizer, landscape architect at Van Cleef Engineering, and this is a pool project. There are no trees being removed, and there's actually 110 cubic yards of dirt being removed, subsoil. The only thing that I could think of is where the construction,
Do you have plans in front of you?
I have one with me, but I can
Could
bring.
you put it on the table and it'll come up over,
Oh, sure.
so it's on the screen? Thank you so much.
There's a pointer on your right-hand side if you want to use that to depict anything on the plan.
Pointer on my right-hand side. This thing? Okay. All right. So, anyhow, a pool is going in here, and there are existing trees here and here, large trees. And then there's a few small trees through here, and then there's one large tree there. This yellow line actually shows an existing gravel area, and this is the construction entrance coming up through here. I'm actually on the Shade Tree Commission in Doylestown, so I was looking at this and I was suggesting that they should go outside the drip line slightly. That's my pencil mark going around, and then in so that they do not impact the root system. That was my concern, but otherwise it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, do you have a tree protection fence notated on the plan?
Yes, there is a tree protection fence right here, no, right here going across. And I suggested to them that they should follow the construction path so that.
That's outside of the drip line?
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's
cool.
outside the drip. So those are my recommendations, being the LA in my office. But
Sounds good. And
I
this,
didn't see these plans before they were submitted.
gotcha. This soil, is it being left on site or is it,
The topsoil is going to be removed and then stockpiled here. The subsoil is going to be taken away, which is 110 cubic yards.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, anybody else have any questions? No? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Cool, thank you very
Okay,
much.
great.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Oh, public comment, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Ah,
Public comment?
No.
No, okay.
okay.
Thank you, sorry about that.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, next up we have 800 Lancaster Avenue, Doherty driveway. Good evening, welcome to the Shade Tree meeting. If you could introduce yourself and tell us about the project, please.
Good evening. I'm Mike Roth from Pannoni Associates, here on behalf of Villanova University. I also have Jim Durkin with me of Ground Reconsidered. He's the landscape architect for the project.
Gotcha.
Rolling out the plans. So what you see on the screen here is the site plan. So generally the project consists of a new driveway serving what currently is called Doherty Drive. Just to orient you, Villanova's campus is to the north, Lancaster is along the south side of the page. To the east is Ithan Avenue, And just off the page to the west is that pedestrian bridge that crosses over Lancaster. So the existing driveway that runs east-west that you can see. Sure.
Where's the chapel? I'm not oriented. I don't see the bridge.
The chapel's further west off the page. I have an overall sheet if that would help.
That intersection there, is that Spring Mill or Ethan?
Ithan. So here's an overall sheet. The chapel is here. And our project is here.
Okay, so you're cutting across.
Yeah, cutting across an existing lawn area today.
Another big lawn area?
So it's actually this way.
Okay.
See the stadium?
Yeah.
So the scope of the project is to put a new driveway in that connects directly to Lancaster. It runs north-south, tying into the existing driveway that runs east-west. Currently, the driveway is used for deliveries. There's a loading dock in this area at Doherty Hall, which all the vehicles currently come in at the existing driveway here, which is just north of the signalized intersection, pretty tight turn. So the new driveway will better serve the existing trucks going there, and as well, Villanova is going to have a shuttle that will come in, and there's going to be a bus stop here for potential students. So they'll come in off of Lancaster, circulate internally, and then leave. As part of this project, we are removing 2 trees. One is a small 8-inch tree down here, and the other is a larger heritage tree. I believe it's a 42-inch diameter up here as well. We can go over the proposed tree replacement plans.
Yeah, just while you're on there, the tree to the right there, what
Yes.
is that? Is that a beech tree? Or,
Yes.
it is, it's one of the big beech trees, right? Okay. Is there any way you can, well, we might lose the beech trees anyway, to move it over a tad bit? So you're not like right on top of the trip line, or is it, because that's I don't see the DBH on that, but I believe they're pretty big.
Yeah, so it has a very large canopy. I think the diameter of the trunk is, I have it somewhere,
Probably-
52 inches. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a very
close,
large
yeah.
tree.
Is there any way you guys could do that, you think?
We had looked at it, so we balanced the truck movement, so there are large tractor trailers that come up and have to navigate that sort of subtle S-curve. Additionally, up in this area is some mechanical equipment. There's a lot of vegetation along here, so without shifting too close to that, we're sort of threading the needle, if you will, with our driveway.
So, but if they're coming in off Lancaster, right?
Correct.
And so you're talking about big tractor trailers, are they gonna come out back at Ethan?
No, so eventually the Ithan Avenue will be closed off. They will also leave out of this
So
driveway.
where will they turn around?
So they'll come up, pull this way back into the loading area,
Oh, okay.
and then they'll
gotcha.
drive down and leave the
Got it.
site.
So it seems like the curve up top is gonna be a lot tighter than down below, even if you move that driveway over a little. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't move it over?
No, not really.
I
It's
mean,
largely
it
about
doesn't look like much more area or anything like that.
it doesn't take much more area. It's just the articulated vehicles, as they're going up, it'll creep into the other lane. So even though it is not as tight of a turn as the top, there is still some consideration there.
Okay. And then you are saying you're, just for my own knowledge, you're closing off at Ethan at some point?
At some point, yes.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, we'll take a look at the tree, the other tree that's being removed. What was that?
Yes, so that's a sycamore.
It's a London plane tree, yeah.
London Plain, that's up by Doherty Hall?
So
And how big was that one?
it's 42 inch.
42 inch? And so you're putting in 6 trees for that ice, or?
Sure, and
7 trees,
we
right?
have the proposed landscape plans. I can flip to that unless you'd like to look at the tree protection first.
Yeah,
however-
sounds good.
Sure. Since I have this set open, we might as well.
All right, one question for John. It is a beech tree that they're going right next to where the construction will be. Do you think it's worth it to try to move the road over, or
Opinion, no.
no? You think it'll go at some point?
I mean, obviously, when you review any beech trees within this vicinity, they're all impacted. And, mature ones, the PhD still don't know the outcome, whether they're going to survive or they're just going to diminish in health. I don't think it's worth recreating a new infrastructure route for that tree, my opinion.
Got it. I trust your opinion.
And real quickly, as it relates to tree protection, here's our ENS plan. We have tree protection shown on both of the large beech trees, additionally along the trees that are close to our disturbed area on either side of the driveway. And sort of as we continue down to the east, there's some other trees that are along the existing driveway that we have the fencing proposed on.
And with this project, are you taking out the driveway on that side or not?
This here?
Yeah.
Not as the
You-
scope of this project,
Okay.
correct.
Got it. All right.
And I can roll out the proposed
Plans,
landscape
please.
plans, and Jim can speak
Yeah,
about those.
Thank you.
So as Mike mentioned, we are removing 2 trees. So we are required to replace with 7 trees, 4 canopy trees and 3 ornamental trees. As part of the requirement for the canopy trees, we're proposing 3 scarlet oaks. You can see the scarlet oaks are right here in this location and right here. And for the ornamentals, we are proposing 3 cherry trees, the Akebono Yoshino cherry along Lancaster. The cherries, there's precedent for them on Villanova's campus if you move farther west at the new engineering building. And with the scarlet oaks, we've had very good luck with them in terms of very long-lived tree and presence on the campus already. And then also, I'm sorry if I didn't mention this, we have a dawn redwood right here as well, which we think will add a nice structure to the space and good fall color.
Okay, that's 7. Would you guys, I mean, you're not required to, but do you think you could plant some more larger, or are you trying to keep that field
I think there was a desire to keep the field fairly open.
space for the kids and stuff?
Yeah, space
Okay,
open, and
gotcha.
then to sort of fill in a little bit along the driveway there.
I think Villanova looks amazing. I think you've done a great job.
Mhm.
So trust your judgment. You're hitting the requirements. Anybody have any questions or thoughts?
That heritage tree, there's just no way to avoid removing that positioning of the driveway or anything else.
So there's large trees that line pretty much that entire south side of the existing driveway. We strategically placed the connection there to try to remove one instead of trying to split the difference and potentially impact 2 of them. Because there's really not a gap anywhere along that driveway where we could squeeze it in.
Sure. And I would just, obviously, the kickouts on each side of where it connects to the existing drive, that's going to be somewhere within the roots of those big guys. So any sort of mitigation you can take while that's being constructed. I'm assuming you're not going to dig deep around that area?
No, so the grade is pretty close to existing, and furthermore, along the existing driveway that cuts across, there's a 5 or 6 foot wide asphalt path, sidewalk, along the driveway, which we're sort of cutting off and putting ramps in on either side. So there was impervious surface there, and the new driveway is ever so slightly further into the drip line than that was.
Okay, thank you.
Just one other recommendation. If you're planting dawn redwood, Soulfire is a good good Dawn Redwood if you
Okay.
see that. A friend of mine picked that out. It's pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? No? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Any public comment?
Oh, public comment. Yeah, sure. Anybody? Matt? I'll make a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Good to go. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day. All right, next up, we have 610 King of Prussia Road, driveway improvements.
Hi,
Back.
Mike Roth from Panoni again.
How are you? So this one's 0 trees, 1 cubic yard of dirt. Connecting it to Doherty Hall or not? No.
All the way to Dr. Hall. Okay, so this project is a relatively small scope project. This is on Cabrini's campus. So there's an existing driveway off of King of Prussia Road. It is just north of the intersection of Eagle and King of Prussia Road, right behind the pond. The shuttles that we spoke about for the other project, they will eventually be coming to this campus. So the scope of this project is the existing driveway. We're increasing the radius on the south side of the driveway here so that the shuttle buses can come out, make a right-hand turn without swinging into oncoming traffic. So we're adding about 300 square feet of impervious just to widen that driveway. Really, the rest of the improvements consist of shifting an inlet in the road, and there was an existing monument sign up in this area that's going to wind up being removed. There are no trees really in the area of this driveway improvement, so we don't really have any tree protection shown, no proposed landscaping as part of this project.
Excuse- What is the monument sign?
So it's one of the big stone signs that used to say Cabrini College.
I know the one you're talking
yeah.
about. That's going to be removed.
Correct.
Okay, so no trees in the area. And it's 300 square feet?
About 300 square feet of impervious, correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Looks good to me. Anybody have any questions? No? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
You have the next one, too?
I am not,
You're not? No. Okay.
Enjoy your evening.
610 King of Prussia? 610 King of Prussia Road, Montefalco Hall. How are you?
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening. If you could just introduce yourself and tell us about the project, please.
Sure. My name is Al Grega. I am a registered landscape architect with Chester Valley Engineers, and we are here on behalf of Villanova University, Cabrini campus. What this project proposes is approximately a 10,000 square foot patio located directly behind the mansion, which they're now calling Montefalco, and 2 connecting walkways that, I love the pointer. 2 connecting walkways here that takes you from the patio to the ADA parking lot to the left, and the other one would connect to interior with pathways throughout the campus. This is the large patio that we're adding to the rear of the mansion. Essentially, we are removing just 2 small beech trees, 1 8-inch tree here and 1 8-inch tree here. This one's being removed mainly because of the site grading required for the patio, and this is where the stormwater outfall is going to be proposed for the subsurface stormwater basin. So in the removing of those 2 trees, we are proposing, let's see, the installation of 2 new trees, one here, one here. They're both ginkgo biloba, I think autumn gold, and we're using that species because it does exist elsewhere on the campus. And the campus staff wanted trees that were more upward branching so they wouldn't block any views of the mansion as well as the patio space.
Gotcha. The 2 trees by that patio, yeah, right where
Yeah,
the
those 2 trees aren't really trees, they're large yews.
Oh, okay.
So they're 2 large shrubs. There will be some tree protection measures associated with them. they will be pruned up for the patio.
There was one more to the right, or, and your
Yeah, there's two here, and there's one large one here. There used to be a sibling here that had passed away and was removed.
okay. And do they have, well, they're used, you said?
Yeah, their use.
Gotcha. And what about to the, on the right of the sheet?
The right sheet
Right
here,
there.
this is an existing this is an existing pine. There was another one over here that had passed as
And then
well.
next to the pine, that's closer to the patio, is that another one? Or?
That is another yew tree, or another yew shrub, correct. The symbols are a little out of scale. I guess they're not really that large.
Got it. And where are you coming in to do all this work?
We are actually coming in here. We're using a new product called FODS.
What's
It's called FODS. It's recycled plastic. They come as large sheets, and they're laid down. The reason we're using that is to protect the root zone of the existing trees in that area. So we don't want to have like a stone construction entrance. So it would actually kind of spread the weight across the entire surface area. And then we have a detail if you want to see it, but it's not really much of a detail to see.
And you're gonna run that all the way into your works area?
Yeah, that's this shaded area here. We're going to run it into the entire work area to gain access.
All right. And the soil, is there existing like patio there now? 2 patios or something?
There is an upper grass area, which is up here. This is a 6-foot-high retaining wall that I guess retains this upper courtyard. The courtyard is grass with bluestone walkways that traverse through it. So the idea is to retain that historical, I guess, elevated garden
Gotcha.
area.
But the soil, whatever you're putting the new patio in, is that being taken off-site? Or?
It's all being imported. We're importing approximately 1,500 cubic yards of soil.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is to elevate the patio to a 4-foot elevation. The terraced area behind it is about a 6.5-foot high
Gotcha.
elevation difference.
Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. We have a third, and everybody in favor? Go ahead. Thank you. Good luck with the project. Thank you. Hmm?
3 Villanova applications.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, next up is Abraham's Lane, 244. Mr. Paolini, welcome. If you could just tell us about the project.
Good evening, Matthew Paolino. The project consists of, we're proposing to build a detached garage barn on this site. There's 2 trees to come down, and it's pretty straightforward. This site's actually like 5 acres, but this section of it's like 2 acres, and there's nothing. There's not a lot back here at this point. It's pretty much an open field. There are some trees, obviously. We'll be taking down a 24-inch tree here and an 8-inch tree over here. Did I bring the right? Yeah, and we have our tree protection fence and silt fence details there.
Okay. And just taking down the 2 trees?
Yes.
Gotcha. And is there a road in there now, or a driveway?
So the driveway's actually, if I go to the bigger plan, the driveway is an extension of, an existing driveway ends right here, and this would be the new driveway connecting it.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that, yeah, okay, shows it up there.
And there's no trees
Nope.
going up there? No. Got it.
No, the closest one's over here.
All right, so you're coming in off the driveway, there's no trees. Tree bank. Anybody have any questions?
What's the barn going to be used for?
Storage, barn, barn stuff, a couple antique cars. It's the garage section and fits the area. It's like a big open field.
Okay.
There's a smaller barn eventually we might remove.
Where is this exactly?
Is this the old Ardrossi? Is this
Yeah.
part of Ardrossi?
Yes, it was part of our
Where
garage.
the lane is Abrams.
Yeah.
Yeah, but which side?
Jamie, if you were on the corner of Leslie and Abrams, and look diagonal on a 45. That's sort of where it is.
It's the opposite side of Leslie then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Nice. Anybody else? Any questions?
No.
So I'll make a motion to approve. Second? Anybody? All in favor? Cool. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you here for 789 Darby Paoli Road? Yes? Thank you. If you could come up, introduce yourself, and tell us about the project, please.
Julie Parrish. I represent all county associates in the project. Sorry I'm late.
No problem.
So the project is this house on 789 Darby Lane.
Could you-
Existing barn, existing
Miss,
house.
ma'am, could you use the microphone? I'm having trouble hearing
Oh,
you.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so there's an existing house, an existing barn that's being used as the garage, and the homeowner would like to expand the garage a little ways, I believe 13 feet of expansion. So just push the barn outwards towards the hill. And to facilitate that, we are adding a small retaining wall and expanding the driveway slightly to allow them to pull the cars into the expanded garage. So the proposed grading is shown up here, where we're cutting into the hill. We shouldn't be affecting any of these trees up above the hill, and we can protect them with, when we mark out the LOD, with fencing and also tree protection fence, if we think it's necessary.
How far away is the proposed garage to those trees? Is it more than like 25 feet away? Do you know?
Should be more than 20 feet, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Looks 20, 30 feet away.
All right. And that's all the work is you're just building onto the barn there?
Yeah,
And then that wall?
yes. And then grading up to,
They're going to do a little
Control the hill.
grading to transition it nicely, yeah.
yeah.
And then you're coming in off Darby Paoli Road to do all the work?
Yep,
Um, And there's no trees coming out?
nope, no trees coming out, no trees going up.
Gotcha.
Limited disturbance.
Anybody have any questions? All right, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second, all in favor? Well, good luck with your project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, old business. Planning for fall planting. Order from PHS confirmed. Frank,
Okay.
do you want to, and Seth, you guys want to take control?
Yeah, Ian, can you pull up the slide, or do I have to stand up again?
There it is.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
That's not the right
That's
one.
mine.
It's probably nearby.
Yep.
You gonna hand that first? Yeah.
You could do this one too, Frank.
Okay, we could do the Villanova project first, if you don't mind, because
Yeah, sounds good.
just acknowledge them.
Perfect.
Last week, we had a late request that Villanova had a day of service, and they wanted to plant 75 red cedars at the Willows. It's part of the reforestation project that we've seen the articles on. I can't pronounce it, but it's Mickelwawi Forest thing. So over 90 kids or students appeared and planted 75 trees in like an hour and a half. John has looked at it, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to propose during our fall planting, we intersperse the red cedars with other species that are going to be bare root type trees to give some diversity at that end. But it looks pretty good, and the kids we still haven't opened a first aid kit, so they were pretty good.
Good. And thank you, Frank, for going there and meeting with them and
Yeah, that
taking
was-
up
that
their
was no
Saturday.
problem. No problem. Got a lot of help from Alex from the township. Good. So as far as the November planning, we've ordered 80 bare root trees from PHS. We've slated 42 for residents, 34 for the willows, and 4 replacement trees for West Wayne Cemetery that had died over the winter. We're going to pick up the trees, the township will pick up the trees November 13th, a Thursday, and then the residents trees will be planted by a private contractor between the 13th and the 21st of November. And Seth, I think, has some requests for bids out for the planting of the resident trees.
Yeah, we just need to get a formal quote back from Tree Authority, unless, I know last time we talked about maybe some alternatives, but at this point, I think Tree Authorities are our go-to. So I did speak with Hassan weeks ago. He was on board. We just need to get the official stuff wrapped up.
And we did get the approval by the board, so we're good to go with that.
I forgot to mention that, yeah. James got approval from the BOC to do this stuff and pay for it.
And just a quick registration check. So we opened up registration last week. I think we have all of the pre-registrations and the wait list folks signed up for the most part. So we can kind of officially announce this tonight, but we do have 20 signed up out of the 42 already without promoting this, so I have a feeling we're going to fill up without the need to promote, but we'll likely do that just so everybody has a fair chance.
And there were 3 residents I gave a heads up to. They lost their bare root trees also, and they were the first 3 to sign up. So we're making them happy too. The park trees, planning on doing it again with volunteers and help from Public Works on Saturday, November 15th, and that'll be the usual work plan, light lunch, light breakfast. Township will deliver tools and mulch and stuff like that.
We do need, just to mention, to reach out to, I'm sure Shriner will be more than happy to show up, but I think someone needs to officially reach out.
And then in addition to that, on Sunday at the Wayne Fall Festival, one of the banks, who's independent,
Republic, was it?
no, it wasn't Republic. Anyway, they want an employee community day. So I've got the contact information. We'll contact them and see if we can get their
Members
employees.
first.
Members first?
Yes.
So, and they were very keen on doing it.
That's great.
And I'll probably reach out to the Villanova coordinators to see if they want to send some. And I'll also send out an email to the volunteers from the spring to see if they want to come back. I think Sven would love to come back. We talked to him a lot on Sunday too. This is where I turn it over to Ricky, because I don't know anything about these 16 trees.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry, I came in at the 16 trees.
12 trees for the Wayne Business District and 4 trees for Aberdeen Terrace.
Yes. I mean, if you want. I mean, in regards to the business district, I'll touch on that lightly, and John can kind of follow suit. We had a couple proposals that we had to go through just because of the amount of money that we received from the first one. So after having those 2 proposals, one was the lower bid, which that gentleman has been notified that he has won the bid. So we still have to talk to him to see how we're going to go about removing the trees that John recommended and also planting a new one. Since it is in the business district, we kind of have a small window that we can kind of operate within before those businesses open. So we will be speaking to that contractor shortly in regards to when that'll be done. I mean, it's Mr. Gibbons actually won the bid he had put in.
Do we have any time frame when this is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean,
No?
the gentleman's right.
It's going to be this fall? It's going to be in November?
October, November, yeah.
October, November? Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. And Aberdeen Terrace, same thing?
that'll be, I mean, we just have to purchase the trees. As far as the removal, we'll be doing that shortly. We do have to go before the board to ask for the funds to be able to remove the trees. So that will be happening shortly, but we'll get those trees removed in order for that project to move forward.
Okay, very good.
So while we're on that subject, are those trees coming from the shade tree fund, the removal?
Not the removal, the planting, the trees.
The
about
removal one.
purchasing.
Okay,
No, no,
gotcha.
No, not the removal.
I was just going to say,
the-
because we might go over that budget then if, no.
No, that was
Okay.
just to purchase the new trees that was
Gotcha.
recommended.
And while we're on this, do you have an actual price, Frank, for everything? For PHS, do you have the numbers?
Yes, we don't have the invoice yet, but we do have the exact price, which we've confirmed with them.
Okay,
And it's exactly what you presented to
It was.
the BOC.
okay, perfect.
So we're in good shape there.
Cool.
I think the only other costs that we don't have yet would be the 42 resident tree planting, which that's going to come from Tree Authority. And then usually we'll have some incidental costs for lunch and breakfast and stuff.
Well, we kind of estimated that in, right? Did we?
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
So you'll take care of all that, Miss Leah, right? You're good? Okay. Need to add anything to that, or? No? Okay. All right, so that was planning for, do you need any help with anything else, Frank, for the fall planting? As of now, or just next meeting we can?
Seth and I have it for, getting volunteers and contractors. I'm imagining Kristen and Eugenia are going to make sure we have, the accoutrements and for the morning of.
Yep. I also wanted to confirm, from the Fall Festival, was it Betsy from the Radnor Conservancy? She said she has a committee of, I guess, fathers and sons, around 200 of them that are always looking for service. And she said she would follow up with us.
This is Betsy Michoud?
Yes.
She did, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to close the loop on that.
That's a good comment, because I can do a quick little recap from the Fall Fest, if we want to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So yeah, Betsy reached out. So they have, through the Conservancy, a calendar of events. And it is worth noting that they are doing another tree giveaway on October 26th from 12 to 3. It's going to be a little bit different from years past, where it's going to be more of they're calling it the Tree-toberfest, which is fun. So they're giving away around 400 trees, so those small container trees. It's going to be at the Willows. They're going to have Locust Lane Brewery there. They're going to have music, raffles. It's going to be a fun event. So all focused around trees. So mark your calendars there.
What was the date?
October 26th. And if you want to learn more, just hop over to the Radnor Conservancy website. So that group does a great job with, helping out through volunteer events throughout the year. So we'll get on their calendar, and I'm sure we'll get a few folks. So quick recap from the Fall Fest, went really well. We shared a table with the Conservancy, with Birdtown, and who else was there? There was 4 total. I forget. I'll look it up while I'm speaking. But we had a fair amount of foot traffic. We didn't promote registration to the full effect that we did previous years, because we wanted to make sure we got the waitlist folks and any of the replacement folks squared away. But I think it was a great partnership between the organizations. This was the first year that we had everybody together, and I think it allowed us to really act as a unified force. So good stuff. And James brought another tree this year. We raffled it off. I won't disclose who won the tree, or their granddaughter possibly won the tree.
I witnessed it, fair and square.
But it was really fun, and the Eagles won, so even better.
Thank you, Seth. All right, Kristen, you want to take it away?
Yeah.
Management of trees and
Ian,
right-of-way.
is Ian here? Okey-dokey. So this is a continuing discussion on the right-of-way trees in the township. So last meeting, we talked about sort of what the current policy is. We went through the details of it. And today, I'm going to share just some more information as well as something to consider. That was a result of a really good meeting that Mr. Foster and Ms. McVeigh and I had just about the current policy and some of the ways that it works. And what I promised to do after they were generous enough to share the data was to just sort of play it out, what it might look like if we were to assign fees to residents for the existing work that's done for right-of-way trees. So that's what I am just going to share with you today. Again, it's just to consider. It could be a model. It's for discussion. So feel free to ask any questions as we go. So this is calendar year I used. And I understand right off the bat that 2025 has been quite different because of the storms, but I wanted to use 12 months. So what you're looking at here is sort of dividing it into parks work and then the right-of-way work. And you just kind of go across. Total dispatches is really just each line of the data sheet that they use when they keep track of this. The number of trees, total costs, and then cost per tree. You can see that. The second one down is I just broke the same thing down into DBH where I could. So you can just see the distribution of 20 to 29, and then below 19. There are a lot of unknowns, and the reason I'm calling it an unknown is because sometimes the data is in one cell and I couldn't extrapolate it properly. So that's why the N is going to be less than actually the number of trees that were serviced there. So this is just, again, looking at all the right-of-way trees by dispatch type. So removed, pick something up that has already fallen, or pruning. And then you can just see, again, the number of trees, the total cost for that type of dispatch, and then the average cost per tree to the township. Okay? Any questions on this?
Can I ask
Sure.
about the last one? It's more to Ricky, though.
This?
Yeah, the total cost for the parks, does that include the, the parks were doing a project where they're taking, that doesn't include that? These are just
No, because
emergency stuff.
that's in 2025. This is 2024's data.
Oh, it's 2024.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's the full calendar year, 2024. Sure. So again, I was just saying this is just looking at it by dispatch type. And so here, the data, I just broke it down again in a different way by DBH. So the number of right-of-way trees per each category. So you can see it's 22, which is 31%, 2029, 18, 32%, and then the lesser of less than or equal to 19%. And again, you see the unknown. And the reason for the circle is because that's the data I'm going to continue to use, because that's the only data that I could say, for sure that, yes, this was this DBH because of how the data was combined. So moving forward, that's why I just draw your attention to that. So, okay. This is just, again, it's a lot of the same information, just in a different format, depending on how you like to look at it. So we look at the type of work, pruning, fallen, or removing, and then by DBH, right? So you can see the number of trees, average cost per tree, and then the blue is for that mid-range, and then the smaller trees are in the green, okay? So 39 trees are the trees that I could actually look at from all of that.
So that's saying it's significantly cheaper to prune the tree than to let it die.
I could.
I mean, $1,000, you save $1,000 by pruning it instead of letting it die and have to take it down. Is that,
Unless you prune it multiple times in its lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know that I would go, I think that might be a stretch with this limited data, but
I mean, you could also say that pruning just prolongs the life somewhat, and in the end, you're spending more at the same time. So a couple different ways to look at it.
okay.
yeah, and I think what this will not represent, which you guys can speak to, is sort of like each time there is a dispatch, what kind of equipment is going, how many people. This doesn't reflect that kind of complexity, so I can't comment on that. So here's what I want to share is the potential impact of assigning fees as a % of the costs for servicing right-of-way trees, not parks, okay? So this is what I said I would follow up with, and again, this is hypothetical. So just to sort of operating assumptions, number one, right, we're trying to preserve trees in the right-of-way because it truly does benefit all taxpayers, people who are driving, walking on these roads, right, all the benefits that we already know the shade tree brings to the right-of-way. Number two, I think our goal is always to try to achieve a net neutral tree inventory at the end of the year, but those that are, cut down, and then those that are compensated one way or another, so at least net neutral, if not positive. And then I think number three, also what we're trying to do is encourage residents to plant and steward and maintain their own trees for health and longevity. So we don't want to give an incentive for them to ignore that or discourage that in any way. So looking at just the model of collecting fees per tree serviced, to directly then use that for buying and planting compensatory trees, using a cost of $300 per tree, which is I think what we use as the fee in lieu for a residential tree. I used a sliding scale by DBH because people will work harder to prevent a small loss than they will to gain a bigger gain, right? This is just human behavior. So by using the sliding scale, hopefully, again, it encourages people to act early and take early care of their trees versus waiting until they get very, very large, and then that's when it becomes very expensive. So 18% for greater than 30, 15% for 2029, and then 12% for the smaller trees. And this is what this would look like using the actual data from 2024, okay? So number of trees by the type of work, so 4113, right? The total cost to the township by DBH, so you can see each group, and then the total is $45,000. Cost per tree, so the 18% fee is actually based on the cost per tree, okay? It plays out the same way, but I'm just showing you, right? So then the total fee is in the right column, $1161. So for the 4 trees that were 30 inches or greater that were pruned, the cost to the township was $6448 per tree, $1612. The fees, and then the offset in that far right column. So then you can see it follows the same way, fallen, removing. So when you look at the net total costs for all of this work is $45,000. And if we go over to the right, all the fees being $8,000, if we divided it by $300, we could compensate with 27 trees, right? So it's almost an exact wash in this scenario. Thoughts?
One thought.
Yeah.
Trees in front of Kristen's house in the right-of-way. Somebody's driving by or walking by and says, this tree looks hazardous. Do you still go look at it, Ricky, even though it's not the residents that are calling?
Wherever the call comes from, we don't determine or
Okay.
differentiate whether it's the homeowner or a neighbor. We just go and inspect the tree.
We get a lot of those.
You get a lot of those.
And we will contact the neighbor also if there's something that has to be done. Because a lot of times every time when we go out, the gentleman who inspects or myself to measure the tree first, we have to put a ribbon on it so that when John goes out, he knows exactly what tree we're talking about.
Okay. And so if John did deem it to be hazardous, then you would be on the hook then to take it down at that point, right?
Yes, John gives us a timeline for when that tree needs to be removed, whether it's immediate or months, weeks, whatever it may be, and we'll let the resident know. If they're not the one that called, we'll have to notify them, but if they are the one that called, we'll call them back with the determination.
And that's something I think we got to keep in mind, because if we're considering a fee for the property owner, it might be somebody else that's like making it, so.
No, I understand.
Just
I mean,
to,
right.
I didn't actually think about that until just now, so.
For sure. I think how to operationalize this, if we decide to do it, for sure, is a different discussion.
Could I jump in
Sure.
with this?
Please do.
I was trying to wait until, I guess, either we're done, but after talking to the township manager, it is budget season, and they're preparing that, so we would like this wrapped up possibly tonight, if you guys can make a determination on what you want to do with the right-of-way trees. We could throw around some ideas, even talking with Miss Leah, even if we didn't take care of the stumps. The tree is the hazard, the stump is not the hazard. So we could leave that for the resident to take care of on their own. A lot of times the stumps are $200 and $300. So the tree is ultimately the hazard that needs to be taken care of. The stump is not that. So that's just a secondary idea, if you so choose, that would have an impact on that budget for trees, and also would leave the residents some responsibility. And if you propose this or propose that to the commissioners, again, that kind of allows something to be left on a resident, where if we do this way, which is something that we talked about, they would kind of be forced to pay that fee. Whereas with the stump, they're also forced, but we did take care of the hazard, and a lot of times that's extra to take care of the stump. That's not really something that we have to do. It's just something that we started doing.
And a question on that, John goes out, deems it hazardous. You let the resident, the property owner know. At that point, can the property owner say, oh, we'll take care of it, or does it have to be the township?
So we have had certain instances when the homeowner comes out and says, hey, like I go out and I'll say, hey, the tree does not need to be condemned, it just needs to be pruned. And they say, we want it removed, we want to pay for it. And then that goes back and that gets reported back to Ledgerton.
Yeah, but to also, we did have situations where homeowners, they do have their tree under the care of a tree company. And they said, well, we don't want it removed. So once John makes his recommendation for the tree to be removed, the only way we back off, because we're already in it once he makes his determination, we're now liable. So if we do nothing, the only way we will do nothing is the resident and the tree company has to send a letter saying they are 100% liable if anything happens. That way we will show that if said tree falls and injures someone, they will say that they accept all liability. And most people, all of them, have went with the township.
Gotcha. Just while we're on that, because I mean, it's a different subject altogether, possibly, but when you say they're liable then, and I've always thought about this, there was a tree that fell on Spring Mill Road that there was a lawsuit against the township, I believe, because it hit a car a couple years back. That tree was that ever deemed hazardous by anybody? So my point is, no matter what,
That case settled, so I can answer that, yes.
it was deemed hazardous,
Use your
Not
mic.
by us, though.
but after the fact.
Sorry about that. It was deemed hazardous by their current contractor
Before it fell or after?
before it fell.
Oh, before it fell.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So that came up in part of the,
Most certainly did.
okay. I was thinking, whether it falls or not, you're going to be liable.
They're
Either way.
going to sue everybody and keep everybody in the game until they clean out what information they
Whichever
need,
one.
for sure.
I got it.
Yep.
Oh, no problem. So this is just the summary of what I was just going through, looking at each of the DBH categories, the sliding scale, the fees, compensatory trees that we could plant, so that it nets out pretty nicely, right, using the data from 2024. You have a question?
Yeah, so with respect to the 12%, 15%, and 18%, those are suggested arbitrary.
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 Only just from previous life using something similar. People won't pay attention to anything less than 12%.
So, maybe this is a little bit out of turn, but it seems to me that those figures seem low and would force the homeowner to accept that the township is probably going to be the cheapest provider, certainly in the case of removal or pruning or whatnot. I mean, these are fees that definitely would compete with the private tree companies that would be in that business. So my concern is that we would be imperiling the township to service these trees, whereas the homeowner could pick an alternate provider. They'd be forced to pick an alternate provider.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the way the ordinance is already written, we are that provider. So in order to get out of it, the ordinance would have to be changed. But again, the BOC wanted this committee to make the determination of whether we should be in it are out of it. So this is supplementary in regards to, if you agree tonight, I would like, hopefully you will agree tonight, but when you do come to that decision, I would like something like what Kristen has to go before the board. You can provide suggestions, but ultimately they want to know what you decide. So if you say, hey, we're in favor of keeping it, but this is some suggestions into maybe how you wouldn't have to bear 100% of the cost. But right now, as the ordinance stands, there are trees. Or should I say, they're the township's responsibility. They're not our trees, but they're the township's responsibility to maintain.
But Mr. Foster, is it perhaps your view that we could pick a higher percentage of?
Oh, I mean, there's some townships, when we were searching around, one township pays 30% and the resident pays 70.
Mhm.
So the number can be whatever this board so chooses. But in the end, the BOC also has to want to put that cost back onto the resident. So that's the only hurdle I see. Like, we could say the resident pays as much as you want, but the BOC would have to say that's what we want to do. And right now, who knows how they'll vote if we say we want residents to start paying a portion, majority, that I can't answer to. But you are definitely welcome to suggest whatever you feel will help with this cost that's being incurred by the township.
Okay.
And I can play around, like, after tonight, if we decide you want to play around with different numbers, it'd be easy for me to do. I can do that, Yep. I just wanted to put up the last slide because it's a follow-up of, I think, last meeting where we talked about making sure that we clearly understand what is in and out of scope for the township for these right-of-way trees. So I had it in green, right? I think the things that are in scope. I don't know about removing a healthy tree if somebody calls and says, or even a landscape tree service calls and says this resident wants to remove 2 shade trees on the street, right? They're allowed to, correct? They're not allowed to?
No, the ordinance says they can't touch them.
So not even if it's less than
Ordinance right now
6?
says they can't touch you can't injure a street tree. You can't do anything with it.
Okay,
I guess you can come to this board and ask for permission.
right. So out of scope then. So for maintenance, pruning branches, right? No treatments, correct? No removing the vines and no reshaping. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the pruning could be somewhat reshaping. Like John has recommended that there's some time that we'll, make the tree smaller just to make it safer. Some
Right.
trees, branches go.
I guess I just meant aesthetic. If someone says, I'd like this to be prettier, that's not in scope.
No beautification work or preventative.
That's a better way
or
of
curative.
wording it, right? Is there anything else in or out of scope that we're missing? No? So that's, this deck has the previous meetings slides as well as backup. So
What we need to do, Ricky, is you want a recommendation from the Shade Tree Commission to go before the VOC relative to right-of-way trees.
Yes, sir. And I would love to take one of you with me to, whether it's Mr. Gibbons or whoever you appoint, to also show, this slide presentation, and within that, have your recommendation for whatever you want to do.
Before we make any recommendations or anything tonight, do you think we should?
Great work, Kristen, by the way.
Yeah, good work,
Excellent
Kristen.
PowerPoint.
Depending on the recommendation that's made, there may be some other groups that might want to be heard or talk about it with us. Do you think we should wait until, and then kind of give
Well,
a
sounds like-
heads up of
Yeah.
what we're going to decide to recommend to the VOC?
Sounds like we don't have time for that because we have budgets to be set,
A
right?
little bit of time, Ricky?
I mean, the budget, I'm assuming there will be a presentation probably sometime in October. Like usually we'll have that. So, I mean, we've had this on our agenda for a couple months.
No, I understand,
when
but
I'm not sure.
The budget, if we keep it the same, we're just gonna be adding money into it, right? It's not, unless we're taking,
And we'd be adding money.
how would we
Yes.
be adding?
'Cause-
Because more people would be calling?
No, because the fees actually will go directly to compensatory planting. So instead of relying on some of our grants that we get, right, we would actually have almost a one-for-one from the right-of-way trees that are removed by the township and then compensatory.
Yeah, but how would the cost, the township's still gonna be paying the same amount, right? Per tree.
Correct?
So that cost doesn't change.
But their costs don't change, and if they do change, at least you have a percent, so it still stays,
Well,
with-
It all,
it's current.
it all depends on what you suggest. So
What do you suggest
if-
to do
if-
with the money that's collected?
Well, no, if you go the way that Ms. Kristen was talking about, then the township doesn't pay that full amount, the resident pays. And if we cut out the other way, where we don't do any stumps, then you take $200 or $300 off of every time that we do a tree where the stump would have to be ground out. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's secondary, because that could be talked about offline, in regards to how you want to do the presentation, what would you like to recommend? But basically tonight, it'd just be, are you in or out with recommending we take care of them or not? The presentation can be, filled in blanks later.
Gotcha.
And I understand when you said, talk to other committees, but with all due respect, I think you're the only one that the BOC was concerned with Radnor Shade Tree.
Yeah, true, but like if we recommended something in the Radnor Conservancy, they think it was the right way to go, they might be upset about something, right? Could they? Or think we're making
Yeah,
bad
I mean,
decisions?
they don't really hold sway as
Well,
you
they're
do.
voters.
Hmm?
They're voters, I mean, they're
Yeah.
gonna do what they're,
Yeah, I mean, but that's up to you. The
gotcha,
the BOC mentioned you as a
gotcha,
as a
gotcha, I
committee.
understand, yeah.
Can I just make a comment? So maybe just an observation, it's probably also obvious, but I think the upside of this approach is that we're not changing any other policy of how it works right now, but if we even were to do it, let's say for a year, we'd have good data, right? And we'd have a better way of looking at things, and then we could reevaluate next year to see if we were really able to, keep a net neutral inventory. So to me, that's what's attractive about this, is it's not really messing with what's currently in the ordinance. It's just changing the way that the costs are
The-
allocated.
The one thing I would say with that to Ms. Kristen, the way the ordinance is written now, it's written the way that we carry it out. So if you change it to anything else, it will have to be rewritten so that any resident can see, well, where's that written at that you're doing this? So that would, of course, take a few months to be enacted, which, again, this budget that they're compiling is for 2026. So whatever you recommend in regards to the money aspect, I mean, we can definitely figure that out, but, that part will require ordinance changes if we're charging a resident, or even if we're just gonna say, we're not taking care of the stump anymore. So just so they can go back and see, because stumps aren't written in the ordinance, but it probably would be good to update it if we're going to make sure that they can go and now see, we're not doing that anymore as of this date.
And Mr. Foster, just to level set where we stand today. Today, this work is being done and the resident's just not getting billed. So any additional fees that we could impose would be a net positive, correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Just stating that for the record. Thanks.
Sir.
So I think we should continue with what we're doing in the right-of-way, my opinion, with the removals, the maintenance, and everything else. I think that's one aspect that makes Radnor. Some sort of maintenance is done. I do also think that, I know we've been pushing for more and more of a maintenance budget. So in addition to, I like the idea of the compensatory one-to-one. I know when trees are removed, we just had a bunch of examples this year where trees were removed by Radnor Township, and we've somehow, have gotten to the point where we've replaced those trees, and they come out of our fund anyways, so why not make some sort of, not barrier, but some sort of mechanism so that they think twice about, should I remove this tree or not remove this tree? I'm going to get billed $300. Right. So I like that aspect. I think stump removals, in my opinion, should continue to happen. I think removing that aspect of it, I would hate to be driving around and see a bunch of stumps everywhere. Because you're going to have some residents that take care of it, some that don't. I think we'll get a lot of flack if that were to change. And that $300 can help offset one way or the other with the tree replacement and then also the stump grinding cost. The one thing to consider is logistically, if we're intending to collect $300 per removal, when does that tree get planted? I know we've been doing some ad hoc plantings throughout this year, but I think organizing it more in a way where we're doing it spring and fall, so there's some sense of, understanding and consistency there would make sense. And then lastly, where I started, which was, I think, one of the discussions that we've had over the past couple of years was, should we increase the budget for what we're spending on for removals? And part of that conversation has been around maintenance. We've talked about what it would cost to have a township tree service, tree crew, and I think we've got figures into the millions if you were to do it to its full capacity. So in addition to, I like the idea of collecting $300 per removal to replant a tree. That incentivizes everyone to think twice. But I also think we should include a dollar amount, and it could be for a person or it could be for contracting out to do some additional maintenance. And we could pick a number, maybe it's $100,000 to ask in addition to step towards more of that proactive maintenance.
I'm sorry,
or having a person.
Were you suggesting that we collect $300 from the resident for the tree? Or
Yeah, so
instead of a percent of cost?
I think the sliding scale is going to be too much of an administrative burden. It's just my opinion. I don't know how, Leah or Ricky, you feel about the percentage. It sounds like the percentage is used elsewhere, but I could just see that becoming a big burden and also complicated, and you're going to have to break out a calculator each time, which not the end of the world, but and also there's considerations of by the time the township gets invoiced and knowing what the final cost was and then having to double back and split out, okay, what tree was what's the percentage, that could become an issue. I think having a flat fee aligns to our compensatory could be a way to do it and make it easy.
It seems like the logical thing, Kristen, since you did all that work with Ricky and Leah, to come up with what our average costs are. We'd be basing some flat fee based on your research. So it wouldn't be like picked out of the air.
Well, again, what I like about a percent is that it keeps pace when the costs rise, right?
So
versus a flat fee that we're going to have to change.
And we do. We change
Every year?
We don't change it every year, but we just changed it.
No, I mean-
The compensatory fee, right, to match what
Yeah.
our cost is. And I think that is a very understandable number if, for instance, I was charged a percent greater on, let's say, your tree looks more dead than my tree, and all of a sudden I get a different fee or the same fee based on the DBH. I understand it's an approach that's used elsewhere, but my gut reaction to the percent.
Can we ask, I was just going to ask, what do you think about the complexity of assigning either a percent or a flat fee? What's your
I would, and I'll let Ms. Leah jump in. She sees a lot of the bills and everything too. My suggestion would be just one flat fee. But you also, I mean, we do have some trees that are cheaper to remove. So if a tree's $1,500 and now they're paying $300, you know, you also could say, well, if the tree's under this set amount, we're not gonna worry about it. But if it's over 2,000 or whatever it is, then you could say 300 opposed. So, you know, you have the freedom to pick whatever you want, but I would like a set, you know, number. And if you decide to exclude trees that are under this amount, I think that would be fine too.
So our ordinance is applicable to 6-inch and above DBH trees. So I would say anything under 6-inch, we're not gonna charge it, right? And I think the purpose is, we wanna get trees back in the ground that have been removed as street trees. Obviously, we wanna help with the budgetary aspect of this too, but our main concern is replacements, right? As a commission. So I think aligning, and we could write the ordinance to say, we're gonna charge you and match what our compensatory fee is, whether that's 300 for residents, or we have to also consider 500 for commercial as well. So I think that's a nice like stepping stone into, maybe eventually we do have a full tree crew at some point, but we'll see. So that would be my suggestion, to keep it attainable. The board, I think, you know, likes really concise recommendations, something that's going to be approvable, and I think it aligns to our mission and what we're trying to do, which is get compensation to replace those trees that are being removed.
So do you want to make that motion then?
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the number that I would love to hear from John and Ricky would be, if we were to ask for some additional money for maintenance, whether it's a person. Are you looking for another person?
I do have to make a presentation to the board, and that was something with Public Works, but yeah, that is
You're
something
looking
I
for
was
another
gonna
person? So if we also provided the recommendation to add another person to help not only with general Public Works, but to help with what we do every day. And I think, you know, we always need you guys for the plantings. There's obviously shared responsibility with trees, whether it's in the WBA asking for them to be pruned, or whether it's we see something, or whatever it may be. I think, you know, it is not necessarily something that we would drive specifically for the budget, but I think it would help you guys in your case to add another person, right?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you, I mean, I'll be making that presentation once the township manager gives me the go. So, I mean, there are, when it comes to Public Works, we have a lot of pool owners from other places inside the organization and outside. So, yeah, I'll have to make a list for that. But if that's what you would like to put in yours, that's fine too. I think just the work that this committee's been doing as far as planting trees is enough of a case for something like this. The only downside that I think would be the extra work on staff to have to now go and invoice these residents and make sure those bills get paid. That would be the only thing I would foresee. The finance department would now have to, there'd be communication from Public Works to finance, and we'd have to make sure that doesn't get lost in the shuffle. So it's not impossible, but that would be the only thing, whether the board wanted to do that and affect, you know, staff already with more work to try to recoup some money. And again, that's, you could easily, whether you suggest that or not, still ask for more money to be put into your fund without, you know, this part.
Sure.
So what I'm hearing here is that we need to make a decision of percentage versus flat fee for the residents. And the second thing is, we need a deck with a proposal to the BOC as to what we're recommending to be done. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, the first thing is, are we going to maintain right-of-way trees or not?
All right, so if that's a yes, regardless of whether we say yes or no, there's a proposal needed to go before the BOC.
That's up to you in regards to if you'd like to ask for something like, we agree we want to continue to maintain the right-of-way trees, and this is our suggestion on maybe how we can not have so much of a burden on township finances and maybe allow the residents to bear some cost. That's secondary compared to, are we in or are we out?
And
Yeah,
James,
I don't think, excuse me, I don't think you can say we're in and we're out without saying how we're going to be in or how we're going to be out.
And you're correct, but as of right now, we're in without the way, you could say we're in and we have it the current way we're operating.
Okay, so regardless, we need a proposal to the BOC. It's going to be based on, Kristen's data and our decision to either go flat rate versus percentage. And
I just wanted to show you, we did it with the flat fee. Do I have to ask to have it?
Ian, can you turn on the screens? Kristen's hooked up HDMI. Thank you.
Ah, where'd it go? What just happened?
this is my new summer home.
You should be taking care of all the trees then.
Did it?
Okay, so this is what I just did instead of. So that fourth column, instead of doing the
Oh,
percentages.
It went back to, instead of presenting, maybe just,
Okay, you can see it? Okay, fourth column, instead of the percent, I did the flat fee. So obviously it's going to be a one-to-one because we're charging 300, we're paying 300. So that's just the difference, the slide before.
thank you for doing that.
Does that help?
And this is just removal, right?
Yeah, just removals. And the one thing of,
It's not just,
well, right, it's an aggregate of
yeah,
service trees.
right. So this is
But-
percent, this is what the fourth column looks like, and the nets, and then this is just flat fee.
But I would recommend the flat fee would only be for removals, nothing else.
What about maintenance? No charge?
What about fallen trees? Because that's a big cost,
Well, that's a removal, right?
is it?
Yeah, but that's a township
That's a
cost.
cleanup.
It's a cleanup.
It's
So
a
no-
township cost.
So no fee for maintenance, no fee for fallen, just removal.
Fallen on the road or fallen in the property? If it falls in the property,
Technically, there's no township
the na-
responsibility.
the,
right?
the resident would be cleaning it up, correct?
I mean, if it's in the right of way, we come out and measure and they call us, then technically, I mean, we wouldn't say, no, it fell the wrong way, But of course, the road, if it's in the right of way, it's in the right of way. So if a resident calls with that, I mean, we can't,
What if it
As
landed
long
on
as
the
it's
house?
not a,
Safety and wellness issue.
what was the other question?
What if it landed on the house?
I mean, that's a whole nother issue. You have to, codes, there's a lot of other people that get involved once it hits someone's house.
But you guys wouldn't be doing that. No, you'd have, the resident would do it.
I mean, there's other people that are called once that happens.
as long as it's not on a private road.
But even pruning, if you look at this, pruning the larger trees is still an expense, right, per tree? 1,600 per tree?
But you would be charging residents to prune as well?
If they have to prune the tree, if it needs it, right, then you'd still charge $300 per tree, which would offset the cost of $1,600. I get, you know what I mean? Unless you want to eliminate that because we're doing the one-for-one? Is that why you're saying that?
Yeah, well, the pruning, it's like, the cost of it is much lower than a removal. And the purpose of the $300 is to put a tree back in the ground. So when you're pruning, you're not removing the tree.
The fallen trees are more expensive.
I feel like with the ask that
Because
we're
the fallen
making
trees are
here,
probably during the storm.
I feel like with the ask that we're making here for additional personnel and whatnot for maintenance, we should probably ask for a higher fee to offset the cost of removal.
Higher than 300,
Higher than 300.
regardless of the size of the tree.
Well, anything above,
Yeah.
yeah, 6 inches. That and the administrative burden to actually conduct the billing. I know our intent here is to get another tree in the ground and there is a cost to that, but there's other costs.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe, as an alternate proposal, 400 for residents and 600 for businesses.
Yeah. Or maybe some percentage of the 3 and 500, just so that next year when we increase it can be managed.
Just remember, tonight's decision is based on maintenance versus pulling out of the whole program. The logistics can come at a later time.
Yeah.
Right.
This is just a vote, do we stay in, do we stay out? Yeah.
Correct.
We've got
Later
most
on, you
of-
can go in and pitch your model, have Kristen, look at some more figures and.
I think we've got a little lost in the weeds here. So it's stay in or out, and then the other question would be a sliding scale or just a flat whatever? Those are the two easy questions for tonight. That's what I thought.
No, Ricky?
And the third question might be, Kristen stated a scope of fallen, removal, and pruning. So we have to agree to that scope or not also. I think that's the third thing, Eugenia.
Not tonight, though, right?
Could we try, I think we could try for a motion tonight, don't you think?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I know what I want to do.
Gotcha. Ricky, any downfall to residents taking care of their own trees?
You want-
No, I'm just curious.
Can I
Would
give
you?
an honest answer?
Yeah,
Give your cell phone number out every time they call?
I don't do tree work anymore, so,
I mean, my only
I
fear.
mean, we're in a fairly wealthy area.
My only fear would be non-action. There has been some trees that, when we go out to the property, they point out along the street, 5 or 6 trees. Once I measure, one might be in the right of way. We'll take down ours, you'll see those other trees still remaining. So, that's what I would, my own personal thing. And then even if we do get out of this, it would also be another component because we get calls on state road trees. And we would still get calls on trees that are along the street on Township Road. So now they would want to know, well, how are you not doing anything? And for some, I probably still would be involved. If there's a tree, like the ordinance was changed with this committee's help, if trees are in private property but they can affect public property, then I intervene. So if you have trees that are next to a park, next to a bus stop, anywhere where people gather, we have to intervene on private property. So even if that was the case, like we would still have to be a little certain on how we're going to navigate that. So I would rather continue with the program because I do feel like it does a lot of good. I know it's a cost on the township, it's a cost on the residents, but it does a lot of good. There's a lot of hazardous trees and headaches that we don't have. Of course, you're never going to be able to 100% make sure no tree ever falls. There's healthy trees that fall all the time. We can't predict that, but knowing that there's something that happens with the tree and we're able to take care of it, I think that's a win.
And so no matter what we propose, the price is going to go up, correct? Like if we're proposing to continue doing what we're doing, but you want to add more people to do it? No?
No,
No.
I mean, those staff members, they're asked. We go through that, every budget year to ask for staff. And it's not centered around trees, it's just centered around the work that we have to do. So you could just say, hey, we think it's a good program, we would like to keep it. That's our recommendation. And if you want to ask for, if you want to put something in as far as suggestions, that's fine too. But for right now, I think they just want to know whether you're.
Continue or not?
Yeah.
Can I ask one question, Kristen? Of all the other townships and counties and et cetera you looked at, do most of them charge their citizens as we're about to? Or
I
we're
didn't-
thinking about it?
I didn't do that work. That was previously done, so I don't
Well, you
have the
said
details.
You talked to other townships and they.
I did not.
Oh,
Other people did that before.
That was, Ms. Leah had looked through
Oh,
other
yeah.
townships and
But
what they
did-
do.
Some of the townships take all the, they have a tree crew and they take it on.
Right.
Other ones do nothing. One does 70-30 split, so
A
it's
little
all
bit of
over the
everything.
place.
The only difference here is you've been doing this strategic management and removals since inception. Now all of a
Right.
sudden, we're gonna make a very dramatic change, unlike these other townships.
Is it dramatic? You think this is dramatic?
So the dramatic change is imposing a fee.
I think it is, for sure, absolutely. You're, you know, for the last 10 years, people have called in about a hazard tree, and they come out 3 days later, and the tree is gone, the stump is freshly ground, and, you know, off they go. Now we're gonna be inserting a fee attached to it, whether it's a 70-30, the sliding scale. I mean, it's gonna be a big change.
And like you said, other people call about other people's trees, so somebody's gonna get a call next week and say, hey, you have to pay money. So you're asking about dramatic, I think that makes it
I mean,
dramatic.
But on the flip side, remember how this started was with the one property that we removed, I don't know, 7 trees, and it was $17,000, and people were angry because it was taxpayer money being used for people maybe who didn't take care of their trees. So I think maybe it'll even out. What I like about the flat fee too is that it gives us a year to just look at the data and see how it works.
It's still gonna
Can
cost
I-
the same amount.
James?
The cost won't change.
The cost won't change for the work that they're doing.
Correct.
But if they don't have to give us budget to buy trees, because we now use that to buy trees, then
But how much did they give us to buy trees this year?
I
Not
don't
that
know.
much.
I don't know the
No.
answer to that.
Zero.
Zero.
Zero, because you got fees, fee in lieu of.
Fee in lieu of and donations
The
because-
donation
And
from
grants.
Chanticleer.
Or if we don't get the grants, knock wood, I'm sure you will.
James, could I make a proposal? I'd like to make 3 proposals. I propose that we continue to maintain the trees. Township continues, not me.
Is
Township
this a
continues.
proposal or a motion?
Motion, this is a motion.
Okay.
I'm proposing a motion.
Hey, you know,
Do I have a second?
Do I have a second?
Thank you.
All in favor?
No qualifications on this?
No, just
Okay.
a yes,
Sure, okay, yeah.
okay. The second one, do we want to charge residents a portion of the cost of maintaining the trees?
Is it a question
Or
or?
a
a
flat
That's a
fee.
motion, that's a motion. I'm
for-
proposing that motion,
You're proposing the motion to charge residents.
yes.
how much?
I'm not
For what?
saying how, I'm just saying yes or no.
Okay,
Just
so
charge it.
we have a
We'll work
motion.
it out.
We have a motion. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
We have 2 seconds.
Okay.
All in favor?
Okay.
What
My,
do we have?
my third motion,
Everybody?
yeah, that was a,
5-0 or 5-1?
did you?
Yeah.
5-1.
I did.
So my-
I would modify that motion to say, we will agree to the specifics later on, that's all.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay, so a motion that the residents,
Get charged,
Contribute.
contribute to the
With-
maintenance of the trees, details to be worked out
Removal.
subsequently.
okay. All in favor?
Okay.
Okay, so 5-1. I'm sorry, it's nothing, go ahead.
We'll
Okay.
talk later, James, don't worry.
And then the last motion, that we decide to charge residents on a flat fee basis versus a percentage of the cost.
I can second that.
All in favor?
Okay.
For trees over 6-inch DBH.
Did you get that last one, Leah? No. Can you say that again, Frank, that, I'm sorry.
The mo- you take the oldest guy on the commission to remember something. Not nice. The motion is to charge the resident a part of the cost of the maintenance on a flat rate basis.
For trees that need greater than 6-inch DBH,
Greater than 6-inch DBH.
that need to be removed.
They need to be removed
Because they're hazardous.
because they're hazardous.
Second.
All in favor? 5.
One more time, Frank, can you say that one more time?
Thank God this is.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay.
Okay, so
So now we need someone to put that into a PowerPoint deck.
who does that? Well.
I'd like to
Frank.
make a motion to nominate you.
Right.
I'll be glad to do it.
In
And so-
partnership with
Is it
Kristen.
No, definitely in partnership with Kristen.
Then you have to get the lunch.
So that, just to
So
clarify.
Ricky, you know, yeah, sorry.
That second motion, can we include something to support a head count for Ricky's team?
I think that would be a separate motion.
Separate motion? Okay.
Yeah, because the second motion was the residents would be charged. So
Well,
it's
then
kind
what's the difference between the second and third motion?
The first motion was. the
A
one
flat
that said
fee, flat rate.
maintenance.
Okay, you said you had three. We
Yeah,
voted
the
three.
first one was. we said we were gonna
First one is to continue.
We're gonna continue
Correct.
maintaining the trees.
Second one is residents charged.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
The third one was the flat fee,
Oh,
is how
okay.
they're charging.
Okay, got it.
For over 6-inch DBH
No, no,
for
that's-
removals.
no, no,
Because
that's
you
good.
guys
For
said
remo-
not
yeah, yeah.
pruning.
I didn't make any motions, so.
Okay, I thought earlier the conversation was to focus on the flat fee for trees over 6-inch DBH that need to be removed,
It was.
right? Not pruning.
Not pruning.
So we have to make that clear.
I didn't say.
Well, we did say hazardous trees.
Okay, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
because if we had to do it again.
I got
Let's
you.
say
This is what you're
hazardous to be removed.
Hazardous to be removed.
I think Mr. Reeser has a motion on maintenance,
I do.
pruning.
Can you state that motion, please?
I can. I'll propose to make a motion.
Say those two.
Before I do, Ricky, so is there or is there not a defined budget for tree removals every year?
Question is there a defined budget for tree removals every year?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it changes, because one year it continues to increase.
Right. And that number, sometimes it goes beyond the budgeted number and comes out of the general fund because we can't predict emergencies, right? So do you have a number in mind for 2026 for removals?
It's a good question. Me and Ms. Leah went over the budget and put in numbers. I can't remember what we put in for trees.
The number stayed the same for next year, hoping that we didn't have the storms that we have this year.
What's the number?
400,000.
400? So let's say we were to add or ask to add 100,000 to that, to do some additional preventative maintenance. There could be a situation where that's just consumed with more removals. But there also could be a scenario where we could at least earmark that money to do some additional maintenance. Are there any years where we've come below the budgeted number?
Not in my employment.
Okay. Good to
How do
know.
we get there?
That was a good question.
How do we get
What happens to that money? So, what, in addition?
Possibly in 2019 for COVID.
Okay. Do we know what happened with, did that money just kind of get diverted into the general fund, likely? Yeah, okay. So here's what and before I make a motion, if anyone wants to comment, I think rather than maybe, in addition to asking for additional maintenance money, so on top of the 400,000, let's say 450,000 we want to ask for. 50,000 of that needs to be reserved for some sort of maintenance. And if we end up needing to spend more than 400,000 on removals, that 50,000 can't be touched for anything but some sort of maintenance. Does that even make sense as a motion? And would that help you, Ricky, is what I'm getting at?
I don't know if the board or even the township manager would kind of go for that. I don't think. But in
Okay.
regards to helping me, like Public Works just can use bodies, period. I mean, we're growing in regards to what we have to care for. So, and again, like I said, that is going to be an issue that I think all township staff has had to go through with directors asking for more help because they're continuing to want to offer services. So I do appreciate the support.
Yeah.
If you do want to go and, tell them how amazing your Public Works Director, Radnor, is, I mean, that would be great, give them more help. But yeah, whether you do or you don't, I mean, I think what this board has done as far as caring for trees is amazing. So I would go more for the angle of just trying to get maybe a budgeted number for you. I wouldn't worry about, the staff, because we have to make our own fights for that.
Yeah.
But your fight is trying to get money
Yeah.
so that you maybe don't have to wait for fee in lieu ofs or gifts or donations, and
Okay.
just what you've been able to do since I've come on this board for the past few years, which is amazing.
And Leah, you might know this. The number that we had before we went to zero, I think, was 10,000 a year for the big tree fund.
It's the 15,000 Chanticleer gives us.
Well, right, but before pre-2021, we
It
were.
was 10,000, but then they would move stuff around, so that would be 20.
We can ask them to not do that. So 20. All right, I'm going to make two motions. First motion is, I'm going to make a motion to reinstate our $10,000 big tree fund allocation. Do I have a second? From the township budget. Yeah. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can discuss. All right, let's discuss first. It was taken away during COVID, and because we were bringing in fee and donations and grants.
There was also the, what was my brain doesn't work. The pilot program they were supposed to fund, and then they didn't.
Right? And I think we've seen more and more that our big tree fund is being used for other projects, which is great, because we're doing a lot of work, but I think we need to have.
But you could ask for the $50,000 for the maintenance pilot program, because it was successful.
But I'm gonna still start with 10,000, because that seems approvable, maybe not 50.
And what are we using that for?
We're using it for, we could.
Maintenance or planting? Whatever.
Whatever, but I think we could formally, I mean, we did the maintenance pilot, but I think this would formally bake it in to our budget, and it would force some mechanism of maintenance under our purview.
So it could be, so we can
can
use it
figure out
for
which one to
planting as
approve.
well if we deem to choose so, if that's what we want.
I would say we could word it in a way where maintenance is the priority, but, if we needed to pull from that to plant, then, we could do that.
Okay.
That gets confusing, because you've got 400,000 for maintenance. We're asking for an additional 10,000 to do maintenance or plant trees.
Well, I think the pilot projects, for example, we have a bunch of trees that are being covered in vines that we just planted. You've been doing a great job at going over and ripping them off yourself, but if we wanted to pay someone to do that, right now we're good, but having a defined budget to do that, not just for our projects, but also if we identify somewhere else in the township where there might be mature trees or whatever, it's putting the control back on this entity versus having to go to the board every time to try and get that approved.
Special projects.
Yeah, it would be like a tree checker budget.
Yes, yes.
This would be like maintaining the new trees that we plant
In the last couple of years.
in the last,
It could be for that. It could be when we say, hey, the Wayne Business District needs a spruce up. And we can decide that. Mhm. And I think this could be an opportunity for us to show that the maintenance pilot that we did in '23, which was successful, the more and more of these maintenance projects that we do could parlay into giving Ricky and his crew some more leverage for bumping up what they need.
So is your motion to get $10,000 for shade tree commission maintenance of trees, like getting vines off?
I think it's for maintenance of our trees, but it could be used for maintenance of mature trees that we
How about
identify.
just say maintaining township trees, so it could be anything.
Is it just a shifting of an existing budget to a different line item, or are we, where does this new $10,000 actually come from?
Well, we're reinstating what was there 5 years ago.
But where does it
right?
come from, is what I'm asking.
You and I.
Taxpayers.
Okay.
And I think the card that we're pulling on this is to say, this gives us some control over what gets done, and it helps Ricky, and it helps the mission with maintenance.
We can use an example of.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have enough information. I said, I don't feel like I have enough information to make a decision like this. I'm sorry. There's like no background or,
But let's say tomorrow, Bill Thomas from Chanticleer says, sorry, no more donations, and let's say we don't get any fines in 2025, which highly unlikely, but it could happen, then we don't have a defined budget when we're a board trying to serve a mission that's in the ordinance that says we need to do this, and we don't have the funds to do it.
And since we're cutting down the trees in the parks because of the risk assessment report, now would be the time to ask to replace those trees. Maybe.
Yeah, I would, just my own, I would vote against it just because we still have money after this 30,000. We still have 10 to 20,000 still in our fund, right?
Yes.
So we're asking for more money that we're not even spending. We're planting a lot of trees as it is now.
Well, we could be planting more.
Could be
Typically, we
planting
do-
more, but I think maybe we're not maxed out at like getting help and volunteers and stuff, but
No.
I hate saying we don't need the money because we've already got some money in another nonprofit that county will give the
Mr. Paris, can you use your mic, please?
I'm leery of saying we don't need the money because we got money. I'm involved in a nonprofit that's losing county money because they say your fundraising is too successful. Yet the need is still there. New trees are still needed. I kind of go with, there's always an appetite for trees.
Understood, but we can still get more trees. We have money to
Well,
get
and
more trees.
but I think we
not-
purposefully, we voted to maintain a minimum balance so that we could make sure we did consistent planning every spring and fall. Because we can't guarantee what money we're going to get. We've been on a good run with having a
We can't
healthy
guarantee
budget.
that we're not going to get it either. I
Yeah,
would,
that's why you put this slush fund in there.
And it's,
For an
this
eventuality that hasn't
board's been
happened.
performing really well. We want to set the future up for success too. And I think when that budget item was removed 4 or 5 years ago, whenever it was, we just so happened to be okay. Before that, if you recall, we didn't have nearly as many fines. The donations were, I'll say, inconsistent. So, just.
I hear where you're coming from.
Can I say
The
one?
money's going to come from taxpayers, or they're going to move it around from somewhere else, but I doubt it. Somebody's going to raise taxes and bring more money in. So I'm kind of against that. The reason why we did so good is because of you guys, everybody here, and the people that have been here before. Before we were on the board, there was the fall big tree planting. Used to do like 50 trees, $40,000. We need to, I think, concentrate more on keeping people volunteering. That will keep money coming in. That'll keep all these trees being planted. I don't see a huge impact of
Well,
asking for more money. That's
so
just my own.
the
piece.
volunteering thing, as an example, I've been managing a lot of that inbound volunteering, and we've tapped out a lot of guys, and we've recently had some quality issues with plantings and things. So that's why this fall, we're paying money to plant trees, so we know our known products and what we're getting. So I will say that, you know, it is becoming a challenge to get volunteers to help plant.
Could I jump in? If you are going to ask for money, this is budget season, so this would be the time. This is usually when the entities do come to the township before the board and ask for whatever they would like to have in regards to their recommendation. So, I mean, this is a great conversation to be having now, because this is the time of year to go before the board and have that recommendation and have them take you serious with everything that you've been doing.
So we do have that motion then to ask for an additional $10,000 to be restored to the Shade Tree Commission budget.
Yeah. And being that
Correct.
you guys are such a great group, I'm going to vote with you.
I appreciate
because I
that.
think nothing bad will come of it. Maybe $1 to every person.
So to reiterate the motion, to reinstate the $10,000 allocation from, who turned my mic off? So to reiterate the motion, it's to reinstate the $10,000 township line item to the Big Tree Funds for the Shade Tree Commission, for the use of maintenance, for the use of tree planting, whatever it may be. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Last motion is to support Ricky and to recommend an additional headcount for Public Works to help not only with everything that Public Works does, but also to help support what we're doing for our mission and programs. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Discussion on this?
I don't
Discussion.
feel like we have any information. We have no we don't.
Sorry,
I
Ricky and
don't.
Leah.
So Frank and I
Like data
spoke with,
on any,
what's his
I don't
name?
know
At the
any, I
Fall
have
Fest.
no context. Of course I would want that, but I have no context.
Yeah, what are we at? What's the ask? Like, is it like a
to add a headcount,
new employee or something
another headcount to Public Works.
to Public Works? Okay.
And this, it's no real bearing on us, it's just to help support, because I will say, in speaking with some of the Public Works crew at the Fall Fest, James, we won't name names, could be that James, we don't know. You know, there's a lot that they need to do, and they're called in for overtime. We sometimes ask on a week's notice, can you come help us on a Saturday? And I do think adding a headcount will allow Ricky to do and execute on some of the things that we ask on a regular basis. So whether it's saying, hey, we see a tree in Wayne that needs pruned, well, it might actually happen sooner, or it might happen at all. Not to say it's fully allocated for tree work, but it's something that helps support the mission.
Ricky, you're asking for somebody anyway, right? Correct?
Yeah, I have a number,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, I have
So-
5 divisions there, so I was
Yeah.
going to be asking for a staff for each division, so.
So this is really a motion to reflect our support of
Right.
that.
And to include, when we're presenting to the board for the things that we just noted, to have a slide to say, hey, we support and align with adding a headcount. And we can maybe list out a few bullets. We can run it by you first, Ricky, to say, here's everything that Public Works helps with the Shade Tree Commission on an annual basis.
Can we make any agreement on this motion pending receipt of some data? Please? Just FTE, any justification, business case for it? That's all.
I think maybe rather than saying that we would support one head count or, you know, a defined number, I think this could be a motion for support in Mr. Foster's goals and, for 2026.
You need support, Ricky?
How about a hug?
Well, yeah, I think I'm okay with that, and I think that's great, but I do think we need to specifically mention the head count, because that's attached to a dollar number.
Yeah, and head count that's related to
Yeah.
our mission, right?
So if you had extra headcount, Ricky, would that bring down overtime for other employees?
I mean, there'd be more people to choose from, but I mean, in that particular area that he's talking about, this person would be in the Parks Maintenance Department. So I don't know if it would take away from other people, but I mean, there's enough to go around.
Well,
And
and I guess the question is overtime used for evening and weekend work, or is it used for capacity reasons?
No, it's used for the need of the work, like what Villanova just did and we supported. That doesn't happen on normal hours, so we only can support it on overtime.
Right.
So,
But the cases where, let's say you gotta go mow 17 football fields, and you can only do it if you pay the guys, to work every evening for the next couple of weeks. Like, how often does that happen? Probably not that often.
0.
Yeah, so it's all evening and weekend work.
Yeah. And it's all, a lot of the overtime that happens is either things that are planned or emergencies that, a storm comes through and we gotta come and clear the road or be on call. That's where it happens. But most of the stuff, because of the work with all the committees, like, we know what's coming, so it's always, planned.
Right. And I think the data, Kristen, would be, if you look at all of the new development activity and the increased amount of residents in the township, I'm sure we could pull data that says for X amount of size and amount of residents, to get public works done, this is what it costs.
That would be, I mean, I'm sure there's already a
Yeah.
very well-accepted formula to justify increasing your headcount. I would just love to see it,
Yeah.
just a
And I think
slide,
it's-
something.
Some qualitative data would be,
Anything.
the public works guys are stretched thin,
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get them some help.
That would be helpful.
I'll make a motion to support Ricky in an additional headcount and in general, contingent on getting some data for Kristen.
I think Mr. Foster is going to present that data in front of the
Yeah.
DOC. I think we don't need to micromanage that.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Ricky, for everything you do.
Finally
Quite
there.
welcome.
All right, should we get through the rest of the agenda?
Oh, my
Yeah,
gosh.
can I just make a suggestion for next time?
No.
Yeah, I'm going to anyway. Okay, Bryn Mawr Avenue and Nathan Avenue, Ricky, right? Okay, there's like a parking space for people that do construction, and then it's an open field that you guys cut the grass every week. Would you guys be open, do you think, just to think about it, instead of maintaining that, instead of hiring people to maintain that, why don't we build a forest there? Because it's used for nothing else, except for blowing the leaves around and cutting the grass, except for that small parking area that's probably the township didn't get a permit for putting gravel down and parking, and just keeping that part.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely consider that. The only thing I would maybe say, I'm not sure, since I've been here 25 years, we've always maintained that. I don't know what the sightline issues would be if we start letting it go and, cars approaching wouldn't be able to see what's coming from the left, if you're exiting from Ithan on to Bryn Mawr. But I'm totally fine if that's a recommendation of the board. I think it would look kind of unsightly if you ask me, but I mean,
Yeah, so, but if we did that, $50 a week, 30 weeks, 1,500, it's like 15,000 a year we could save right there, just by foresting that. And then you said we've been doing it for 25 years. So if we take places like that, that's never used for anything.
but we do that in-house, so that's township staff. There's no
Yeah,
contractor
but
that
then
does that.
you don't need to bring on more staff. That's my whole point. If you make your workload easier,
Yeah.
by planting more trees, then we're actually finding a way to save money.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if you want to take that and turn that into what you did at the Willows in that back area,
Yeah.
I would,
Support
put that into the next plan, and that be the area that's targeted. And as long as it gets approved to be able to do, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, I know there's an area that was also recommended to do that would be, we want to return to a forest, is the back of Odoricio. It used to be where the cabin was, and it's just a wide open field that, we cut, and we talked with the director of Parks and Rec, and she's on board with doing what we did at the Willows, doing the same thing there in the back. It's just an open field. The Bryn Mawr and Ithan location, I probably would check that with police and see if they have any issue with just letting that go.
Not letting it go, building it as a garden, as a forested area.
With trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That won't be letting, we can still maintain it, the
Yeah.
trees if they fall.
Yeah.
But, yeah, letting it go, okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It'll be
We'd be beautifying, not letting it go.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's fine, but people will call. Like, so that island at Lancaster Avenue and Conestoga Road, and that's why we cut that one triangle island down, because people would say they can't see cars approaching. There's grasses in there. So now we just keep it cut just like grass, because cars say they can't see over those grasses. So I know that would probably be some calls that we receive. Just at Bryn Mawr and Ithan, everybody is not on the same level driver, so I wouldn't be
I
surprised
understand. I
if,
mean,
you know, but that's just my answer, but I mean, I'm definitely
I'm more
open.
concerned about the interior turf, turning it into a forested area. The outside turf, we could plant perennials, grasses,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could ask some people from Chanticleer and other places to help design a beautiful forest there. They'd
Well,
love it.
Once we've got that $10,000,
Yeah, we
we
could
can make it happen.
do it. And we'd save $100,000, so we wouldn't need to hire more people, right? No, thank you all. I think it's a good way to save money. Next up, annual goals. Anybody else have annual goals?
No.
Okay, hazardous trees, they look good, Ricky, right? Township trees removed, all look good?
Yes, I'll just comment on the one at 438 Belrose. All those trees, some were in serious decline, others were leaning toward the road in a hazardous way. So that's why it was so many, because there was issues with basically each one of them. Different issues, but still issues.
Gotcha. And Emlyn Tunnel Park, I see there's a 36-inch locust. You know if any trees are gonna be going back in there?
No, I can't remember. I think John made a recommendation on his report when that tree had to be removed. And some of that was from the storm damage. When that storm came through, like, we tried to hold off on removing those, but they were too far gone.
Okay, well, thanks. All right, public participation. Nobody. Okay. Adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
No, I want to keep talking. No, I'm just kidding.
Keep on
Thank
talking.
you.
Is there a 2026 annual goals file somewhere already in Drive? So it would need to be started.
It needs to be started, as well as the 2025 completed.